Hello, everyone, and I hope you're all doing good. Welcome back to another episode of the Shoutout Podcast. My guest for today is a young and dynamic trailblazer. He is the chairman of a government undertaking. He is also the chairman of a very reputed private college. He also runs or heads a wealth management company in Nagaland. And besides that, being involved in many other multiple ventures. Looking forward to this conversation with the man who's doing it all and doing it very efficiently. Welcome to the podcast, Kvulo Lorin.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Yeah, we finally made this happen. I think we've been talking about this for quite a while.
Yeah, that's my fault. I'm so sorry.
And
meant
then,
to make this happen much earlier, but
no, but then so many things happen in between, right? Like these developments that we'll get into later.
Yeah.
But which got postponed. But glad that we finally can make it happen. By the way, we're at the lovely campus of the college, Tetso College. Can you just share with us a little bit about the place that we are right now in this lovely setup?
Absolutely. So, I'm not usually nervous all the time, but if I stumble or anything like that, please excuse me. But thank you so much, first of all, for having me.
Pleasure.
And at the same time, taking the trouble to come to our campus. You're all sitting here at Tetso College right now. And, Tetso College was established in 1994. We just celebrated our foundation day on 14 March. So we've completed 31 years now.
Okay.
So this was founded by my late father, Dr. P.S. Lorin, and my mother, Mrs. Shasinle Lorin. So together they established the college, and then since then me and my sisters have been working together to try to build on that legacy and
doing a great job.
Thank you.
Ayan.
Yeah, still a long way to go,
Yeah.
but I think we've been fortunate because we have a very strong team. We're blessed and we're very grateful to God because I think whenever we've needed help, whenever we felt tired and like giving up, God always seemed to open doors, lead us to the right people, and make things happen.
That's
So,
nice.
Yeah.
I mean, Tetso College we'll definitely get into in detail, but just wanted the the audience to know where we're at also. And,
Yeah.
So I told you about the shout-outs that we do.
Yeah.
In the beginning,
Yes.
we have. So I'll do my shout-out, and then you can follow it up with yours.
Okay. You go ahead and start.
Yeah. Okay. So my shout out for this episode goes out to Nagaland Esports Society and all the people and all the young guys there. This group of young guys are all young professionals and they have their own separate careers, but they got together to form this association and this society, recognizing the potential and the future of gaming. And they've been organizing many tournaments in Nagaland, trying to streamline and professionalize the gaming industry in Nagaland. So a big shout out to all of them there, Kaki, Along, Zize, and all the rest there at Nagaland Esports Society, and wishing them all the best.
So anyway, my shout out goes to everybody who's thinking different, people who are thinking globally and not following the trends that are so common in our state. Just for example, right now, since it's admission season in the college, one of the most common subjects that students take is political science honors or history honors or something like that. I'm not saying that those subjects are bad, but I think we have more unemployed political science graduates than any other. So my shout out actually goes to everybody who's ready to think different, take a different subject, maybe work on something, pursue something apart from just government jobs, and maybe just trying to be professional and do whatever they can in their own field. We need to now not be scared to be different, and I'd like everyone to be courageous enough to try to do hard things and not be scared to fail. That's it. Yeah.
That's a great shout out. Very different. But yeah, I think I resonate with that, the thinking different. And it's not an easy thing to do also, right?
No.
It takes, besides having the courage to follow up on it, is also the journey is usually not so easy. So,
I think you're thinking very different. I mean, doing something like this.
Yeah, I try
so
to.
shout out to you too. Yeah.
Thank you. I wasn't fishing for that, but so we start with the backstory of of the guest. we ask the guests to share a little bit about their upbringing, their childhood, and just like a story time a little bit, so that the audience gets to know you on a personal level.
Okay.
Yeah, so.
Okay, so I'll try to be very brief over here. I don't think I'm such a very interesting person, but all of us started somewhere. I was actually born in Shillong. My father was teaching at Nihu that time. So born in Shillong, but then started my schooling in the States. Fortunately, my father also, he secured a Fulbright scholarship to the United States, which takes care of airfare, stay, admission, everything, where he went on to pursue his master's and then his PhD in the US. So I started my schooling in the USA. And from me and my sister, for that matter.
This episode of the Shoutout Podcast is brought to you by Serenity Women's Paying Guest. Serenity is a paying guest for women located in a safe and homely environment at Kuda Village, AKL, opposite NN Nagi School. Serenity provides a variety of rooms such as single room with bathroom attached, double room with bathroom attached, and single and double rooms with bathroom sharing. It also has a room that is available to book on a per night basis. Serenity also provides delicious home cooked meals along with amenities such as full power backup, CCTV for security purposes, running water, geyser, free Wi-Fi, washing machine. It also has a fully equipped pantry and dining area with a refrigerator, microwave, electric kettle, and water dispenser. Serenity Women's PG is an ideal option for single working women, college students, or those availing coaching classes and appearing for competitive exams. For more information, you can call the number below or check out their Instagram page.
The one just below me, Dr. Hewasa. So we started our schooling in the States, and then till about I was in class 5 when I came back to Nagaland, and came back and studied in Don Bosco, Kohima. It was a culture shock. After, we were there in the States for about 7 years, came back, and then where my father was principal of one college in Kohima for about 2 years. And then after that, we shifted down in Dimapur, where he established Tetso College in 1994, he along with my mother. And I joined school at Don Bosco, Dimapur, where I graduated and finished my class 10 from there. From Dimapur, I wanted to take up science, actually. I mean, science because I loved computer games. And because I love computer games, it was just like, okay, I wanted to take up computer science. So from Dimapur, I went to Shillong, I went to St. Edmunds, took up science, and then from there, I followed that up. Things were just picking up in India at that time, the BPO scene, everything, and computer education was supposed to be the best in Bangalore. So ended up going to Bangalore, where I took up my bachelor in computer science. And there in computer science, I realized that I didn't like programming that much. I like playing games and maybe graphics and things like that. And so from there, after, while doing the BSc also, I ended up working for a few years.
In Bangalore?
Yeah, in Bangalore, in a BPO company, after which I went for my postgraduate in, basically they call it an MA English Media and Communication. So sort of a mass comm sort of degree. So that I took admission in what was called CFL that time, or now it's English and Foreign Language University, a central university.
Okay. That was in Bangalore?
That was in Hyderabad.
Okay, in Hyderabad.
Yeah. So I studied in a lot of different places. Basically, I wasn't being kicked out everywhere, but then just I think I just kept on wanting to try to find where I was comfortable, I guess. And then so from there I went to Hyderabad. After completing my post-graduation over there, then I ended up working there again.
Yeah.
So fortunately, in Bangalore when I was working, I basically that was a call center. In the BPO thing, I basically worked with a credit card company. Then after I was working with a bank. Then because of my work experience over there in Bangalore, when I applied for a job in Hyderabad, I managed to join Franklin Templeton Investments, another finance company. So at Franklin Templeton Investments, because of my supervisory experience, they hired me to manage 2 teams. I joined as an assistant manager over there, managing 2 processes, and I think that's where I really learned the most. They gave me management training, supervisory skills, and then I was handling 2 processes. One was called creative services, the other was a transcription process, handling an awesome team, and I had, I think I had some of the best times of my life working over there.
How many years were you working
So
there
that was
in Hyderabad?
about 2.5, 3 years over there, and that's where I really learned more about finance.
Finance, right.
as
So
well.
I'm going to pull you back because
Sure,
we're going a little fast. Because there's a lot to unpack also in the sense that, yeah, I mean, you took us through your childhood, but just wanted to know a few things. You mentioned that you were, you know, moving from place to place, like your education in the sense started at US,
Yes,
then in Kohima, Dimapur, and so on and so forth, to many different places.
Yep.
What's your take on like how this, because I also studied in a few different places, I want to know like, how do you think this affected positively or negatively, like, you know, to your learning process or, you know, just part of growing up?
Yeah, I think it was absolutely amazing and a learning experience in every different location. When studying in Kohima, yeah, whether you like it or not, there's actually a difference studying in Kohima and Dimapur. There's small, subtle differences. You go to Shillong, the differences are a bit more. But again, in Shillong, you learn, I mean, my roommate was basically from Mizoram. He was a topper. And you had classmates from all over the Northeast. So it really opened up my mind. Then from Shillong, all of a sudden went to Bangalore, where again, you find very few people from the Northeast or from Nagaland for that matter. And I noticed that the farther you go, when I was, you know, when you go to, say, Shillong, then it's like, okay, Nagas, your family. You go further, all the way to Bangalore, then Northeastern means your family.
Right.
that whole family starts, you know, growing larger, you know, and Northeasterns look out for each other like that. So same thing in Bangalore, Hyderabad, and things like that. So it was just amazing. You help each other professionally. You attend the church together. You join the EU together. You worship together, and I mean that community is there, you know. So I really,
I think that's quite funny in the sense that, you know, like the further you go away, your family broadens, right? Like
exactly.
Like beyond your tribe, beyond your state, beyond like the Northeast. But when we come back home, the division starts again, unfortunately. But
unfortunately, that's the thing. When you come back home, then first it starts focusing on your tribe. Within your tribe, it starts focusing on your clan. Within your clan, it comes to your family. And you know, clan, village, all those isms become more pronounced, I guess, the closer back home. And the farther we go, everyone's family. But and then once you go outside the country, then again,
all Indians.
That's it. We're all Indian. You become Indians and you take the support of the entire Indian community.
I think, that's, I've mentioned this in the past, but I think that's one like kind of overlooked issue that we face right now in Nagaland, that the whole ism factor, and it creates like this big stumbling block to our progress as a people, like, you know, as one people kind of. So that's, I mean, I don't know, there's no one solution kind of thing fixed to that, but like, you know, I hope that slowly, somehow we find a way to address that issue. I wanted to ask you one thing about like when you were growing up, like when it, in terms of like the direction that you were heading. This is before you said you wanted to take up like, you know, computer science because you're interested in gaming and stuff like that. What was growing up like, you know, in the sense of like, was there anyone like, were your parents sort of like guiding you? Did you have your own mind made up, deciding which stream you wanted to take and which line? Kind of take us through that. And also, what early ambitions did you have, you know, like as a youngster?
I think that's a great question. I mean, as a youngster, I really thought that I would be growing much taller than this. And I used to play basketball, and I was like, oh man, Michael Jordan was, you know, my hero. You know, I wanted, and so I wanted to be a basketball player, but you know, unfortunately, physically, it just stopped at some point. But my parents, I think they've always been supportive. They've never had a specific thing like you have to go and pursue one particular stream. It is do what you want, you know better. I think in that sense, my sister and I were quite independent.
With your choices?
Yeah, with our choices, with our study hours. Parents never had to tell us to go and study. We just knew we had to do it. And that's all we did. So when it came to choosing whichever stream or career we wanted, they just gave us that liberty. We had to do the research ourselves.
Of course.
Decide which college we want to go. And they gave us enough freedom to just go ahead and decide, do what you want. That's it. Yeah.
That's a nice thing. But also along with that comes there's one very important factor, which is like the student or the kid also must be responsible, right? If the parent gives you all the liberty, but the kid is not doesn't have the right head on the shoulders, then it can be a.
Trust me, I've made so many mistakes.
Yeah.
Made so many wrong decisions, but I think it's because of those wrong decisions and maybe my parents not bashing me for it, but actually being supportive in spite of everything.
Right.
That it made me confident to make another mistake again and learn from it. Otherwise, I've made tons and tons of mistakes, and my closest friends will be laughing like crazy right now because they know all the mistakes that I have made.
I think mistakes and failures are just as important for success than any other factor, right? That when you take into account all the different things that make up a success story, I think your past failures or your past mistakes makes up a lot of that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure I'm going to be making a lot more mistakes even now.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to learning from them.
Yeah, I mean, that's the best attitude to have.
No one's perfect. I know that, and I'm not perfect, so I expect a lot. And my wife knows very well how imperfect I am.
I think it's nice that you embrace that and having that, being comfortable with being able to make mistakes, and also not purposely make mistakes, but being comfortable enough to know that even if you make mistakes, you learn from them, makes you who you are. All those past mistakes and everything has made us who we are, right? Everyone. Getting into you touched how you started working at your first financial company in Hyderabad. That was you also said that was because of your experience when you were working in the BPO in Bangalore.
Yes.
I want to know was that how did that happen? Especially the transition, because I don't think that was something that you were actually looking at, right?
No.
In Bangalore, getting into the BPO was just getting a job kind of thing.
Yeah.
Was that the case?
Yeah, so in Bangalore during that time, the BPO sector was just taking off. There used to be a lot of campus hiring, and everything was actually call centers. Call centers were a big thing that time.
Yeah.
It was just coming up.
During the boom, right?
Yeah, it was just booming. And it was, the salary was very good. Salary was very high, comparatively for freshers also. And so when I joined one of those companies, the promotions happened so quickly.
Okay.
Because they were expanding at such a fast rate. Within 6 months, I moved from just being an individual contributor to a supervisor, basically. Became a quality lead, then became a supervisor, and started managing a team. And I think that's where it really helped, because I had some of the smartest bosses. And my bosses were just so smart, and it's only because of my bosses, I would say that I could learn so much. They were supportive, and at the same time, I think it made me want to be like them. But ultimately, I mean, even in Franklin Templeton Investments, even though I was enjoying my work so much, I had to come back home. My father needed help, parents needed help running the institution. So in 2010, basically, came back to Nagaland.
I want to talk to you about this. I mean, ask you about this transition, because this is a common thing. Nagas who are sort of independent or working outside, got a good thing going, but then part of life, right? The prodigal son must come back home. Yeah. So what was the sort of your plan? Or what was your thought process that time when you knew you had to come back home? So what were you thinking?
Yeah, that time there was a group of us, a group of friends, all of them working in one or the other company, Nagas again. Some of those Nagas, they're somewhere around the world right now. A lot of my colleagues are working somewhere else around the world. I also wanted to go further and maybe work somewhere else. Like, and so we're finding. I mean, we're like very close friend of mine, Wati Kumla. She passed out from Holy Cross, and now right now you'll find her in New York, working for a large company at the same time establishing her own business. You know, I mean that's. I mean, that's where I wanted to be. I keep on telling her she's living the life that I wanted. But I think as the only son, a lot of my friends who are only sons or things like that, we have this feeling of responsibility that we have to come back and help, you know, our parents do something, and that was always there. But for a moment, there was a big debate.
Okay.
Whether to come back or to keep or to stay there. But yeah, I think I don't know what would have happened if I had stayed outside. But I think I'm happier.
What tipped the scale to make you decide to, you know, like that you had to come back home?
Well, I think parents. I mean, just couldn't help it. It's just that the college actually, you know, is something that was set up by my parents, and I felt that it's a legacy, and no matter what, somebody has to take care of it. And I think so. It was that feeling of responsibility, I guess, which is why I just like no matter what. Not about money, not about anything else. It's just that we have to come back and build this institution up for the good of our people in one way. It can just help so many people if we can do this. So
I think that is. I mean, I can totally relate with that. Being an only son myself also, but I think our society is also such that, you know, like the responsibility of being that, you know, sometimes forces you to, you know, take that path, right? But I think, all in all, everything happens for the best. You know, God's plan is always.
Yeah, I hope so.
So tell us, like, you know, like, so when you came back, you got straight into the college, and like, you know, tell us what you when you came back home.
Oh gosh, when I first came back to college, I created a lot of havoc. Came here, obviously a corporate working style can't work over here, and there was so many things. Came back. I'm apologizing now for all those people who I probably hurt when I came back, because I had to come and shake things up. We had to let go of a couple of faculty, at least 5 or 6 faculty, and we didn't really have that many faculty, but in order to send a message, we had to do a couple of things. There was a student protest in the first year that I came back, which we put down. And there again, expelled a couple of students. Had to do that. It wasn't easy shaking things up, because time was of the essence. We're trying to change things as quickly as possible, and thankfully, you know, I'm not saying my parents were supportive of every single decision I was making. Most of the arguments were basically between, you know, our two different mindsets. So there was a lot of resistance. It's not just from faculty, students, a lot of resistance even among ourselves as we tried to do that.
That's understandable.
Yeah, so huge friction in the initial years.
So it was like a proper baptism by fire.
Students protesting, everything. That was an adventure.
I think when you talk about the sort of like the clash that between you and parents, which is basically the clash between generations, right?
Yeah, basically.
And ideas and how to take forward the college or things like that. I think that's what you mean, right? When you talk about. So what were some of the main things that, like, you know, that you really wanted to push for with the college, or take it in that direction?
Oh, okay, that's a good question, because one of the first things was I wanted every single teacher to be having computers. And that time the college wasn't computerized. So had an agreement. We decided we'd start off with 4 computers. And we realized that at that time, all the way, computers were quite rare in colleges. Forget about, teachers in colleges having their own individual workstations. So we put 4 computers, and the first thing we had to do was mandatory. Everybody had to take a typing test.
Yeah.
Typing tests, things like that. Moved everything online. I was very comfortable with working with email, but nobody else was.
Right.
So those were challenges as we tried to move our whole system to an online system, change our whole office. So it's been a work in progress. We're still trying to get more high tech, integrate all the other stuff, and it's still happening. But I think we've made tremendous progress now. Every single faculty is very computer literate. Our students are also all have their own emails. Communication is done much in a much more organized way right now. So yeah, bringing in those small bits of technology was just helped us move.
I mean, we're already on the topic of Tetso College, so let's stick with this. When you talk about what year was this when you were saying that you got back?
That was in 2010.
2010. And you were pushing for sort of like innovation by technology.
Yeah, basically that was the focus. Yeah.
Which I can totally understand why that would have been not easy.
No.
Yeah.
Electricity problems were there. There were
and even just
lots
maybe
of issues.
the concept also of why focus so much there.
Yeah.
And from what I see and I hear about Tetso is I mean it's very evident. Infra-wise also, you guys really push for innovation and seeing all the, workstations for students and all to, just, it's very, I think it's one of the things that sets you apart. I mean, I can't speak for every other college and all that, but when it comes to innovation and how much of this is, a big part of your direction that you want to take the college in,
Oh yeah, I think we have to become
with tech.
We have to become very comfortable with tech. See, at that time, when we were introducing it, most schools and some institutions, they used to ban cell phones in institutions. They weren't allowing it. We went the other direction and said that no, everybody has to have a cell phone. Everybody needs to do their assignments online, something or the other, and we went in that direction. To me, I think the future is integrating AI, integrating all of this, and making sure the teachers make the best use of it, students make the best use of it, and use that to augment our learning. And we need to. I think technology is here to stay. Ignoring it is not
for sure
going to make it go away.
Yeah. It'll only hamper your business. I mean, your business or whatever your line of work if you don't embrace that. And
yes, absolutely. Yeah.
What are some of the things that you feel sets you apart from, sets Tetso College apart from other, colleges or institutions?
I think every institution here in Nagaland has tremendous challenges, and they're all doing a great job. I don't think that we are doing the best. I think there's a lot of learning for us to do, and we are learning from other institutions also. So when I say Tetso College is the best, I cannot pick one specific area because I think every institution is strong in something or the other. But I think the most important thing for every institution is basically its mission and vision. And every institution has a mission and vision. For Tetso College, it is about empowering yourself towards lifelong excellence, which means basically improving yourself every day. And the purpose for improving yourself every day is our vision, which is to create a positive impact in the world. You're supposed to use your learning to do good in the world. And we strongly believe in that. That is our mission and our vision. And I think our mission and vision is what makes us unique from other institutions. And I think every institution's mission and vision is what makes them unique.
Right. Of course, yeah. What I meant to, I mean, I didn't mean to say why are you better than other colleges, but what sets you apart in the sense, what you feel was your USP What's unique about your college? And I think, I mean, for me, outside perspective is like, your innovation, especially with tech, and like integrating it with the way the college is run and things like that. So that was just my thought. I see that, like I've come here, played basketball also a couple of times,
Okay,
like
that's good.
a good thing that you did was also to lend the premises for Nagaland Olympics
Oh, thanks.
during, like when they were hosting, to have the basketball tournaments being run here. And a very well-equipped, sports facilities that you have, including your indoor badminton stadium and all. So tell us about how big this part plays, because you mentioned in the beginning that you were a sports fan also. Like,
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So how big of a thing is sports with the college?
We are absolutely serious where sports is concerned. Yeah, I am a big sports fan. One thing I actually believe though is that our young people here in our state, we have so much energy, we have so much time, and just nowhere to throw it. And I think that's why we tend to have a lot of young people with bad habits, and we need to try to find some way for them, some outlet for them to let that energy out. And so that's why we built up our sports infrastructure. We want young people to come, play, and let them, at least develop skills in or do it for leisure or for exercise, or at least build up a habit.
Right.
Now, sports is so important for us that we are starting a Bachelor of Physical Education and Sports next year.
Yeah, I read about this.
Yeah,
This is really good.
That's going to be affiliated with Nagaland University. It's going to be a very intensive program. We were just having a meeting about it today.
Okay.
That program would be a residential program because they have to start their classes by 6 a.m. And it goes the whole day. They have a different diet. We want to produce champions from here. And we do have all the sports facilities, from a gym, badminton stadium, to whatever it is, a football field and things.
Basketball courts,
yeah. So we strongly believe in aligning ourselves with our Nagaland government's focus to try to bring up sports and to try to excel in every field. And I think once we introduce this program, we'll be able to bring professionalism into the sport and hopefully build it better.
I want to really commend you guys on having this much emphasis on sports, because me also being someone who's totally into sports, a big sports fan, and I keep saying that it has to start at the school levels, college levels, and that's where the real grassroots is. Grassroots doesn't necessarily mean just like the villages and the rural areas, right? So it's very important for this system to be set up and to be put in place, and a college like yours taking that initiative and heading towards the direction is like, it's a great thing to see.
Thank you.
I'm happy, and I hope like other schools and colleges follow suit also.
Yeah.
What other things would you like to share about the college where which other people might not know too much about, and something that you're happy with, a new thing that's happening?
Yeah. I would say it's not just about the college, but I think it's about the higher education environment here in Nagaland as a whole. There are some areas I feel that we're not exploring. I'm just saying, for example, linguistics. We have immense and so many languages in the Northeast, in Nagaland in particular, and we don't have enough research or work being done. Most of the information that we have is from, I would say, non-Nagas, non-locals, and we need more researchers in those fields, especially in the field of languages. Languages are dying. As the elders, grow old, they're passing away, and then all their folk tales, stories, our oral tradition, everything is dying. So that is one real major concern that we have. We feel that linguistics is something so important, but we're not finding many students taking it up. And they're not aware of
I think that's
subjects, these type of subjects. So we need people to go venture beyond the normal
think different.
Political science, history, things. I'm not dissing them. Political science is important, history is important, but we got to explore
But
more.
I think that linguistics thing was it's quite a unique thing because is your sister a little more into that line?
Well, she specialized, her PhD is in cultural studies.
Okay.
So in fact, we have created one site. It's called NIPA. It's an archive that is recording folk tales, traditional stories, art, whatever it is.
Okay, that's so
stories.
nice. Yeah. Because like you said, I mean, one of the most fragile thing about our culture and thing is that most of it is oral tradition, right?
True.
Like, so everything was passed down orally. There are a lot of people and different organizations and private, entities that are trying to sort of archive this and making their own efforts. Even the government is doing it in their own way and form. But it is something so important because, like you said, most of it, first of all, is done by anthropologists from like different countries, and that's our history, right?
Yes.
So if people not just preserving it, but also researching and then diving deep into that thing. And like you said, I think one of the main issues would be sort of making it more like, the awareness into how important this subject is and this sort of path and how fruitful it can be. Anything else about the college that you like to
Well, see, the college is is our baby. Basically, it's one of the most important things, and for us, it's just it's something that we hope will just exist forever. We want to make sure that the college survives without us being there, and as we grow older, we hope to pass it on to the next generation, and the next generation we hope will continue to follow those mission and vision and
the
values and just take it forward, because I think all of us are here temporarily and we don't know who's going to be looking after it. I'm just saying, for example, I don't know if my children will be in Nagaland or whether they will be looking at the world as their oyster and going somewhere else. But whoever is there for the institution or something like that, I think we need to create a culture for every institution, not just my institution or anything like that. Every institution needs to create a culture and a team that can take things forward. Tetso College is supposed to be ever evolving in a positive way and to keep on growing. Nagaland needs more institutions which are strong, and I just hope that more courses, more research, and I hope that it can grow nationally. I mean, that is the dream. We'll do whatever I can during the time that I'm over here.
I mean, that's a very nice approach and thought process. I mean, thinking to have for your college, and I resonate totally with this because this is like you're speaking as an institution or as as a college, right? But like even on a personal level, I think and I feel that most of us, all of us, should have the sense of trying to leave behind a legacy in whatever way, shape, or form. Some will achieve many big things. You can achieve a small thing also, but leave behind something that you'll be remembered for. And I think that is at least that kind of ambition that people should have. We're going to get into the next topic, but just before we hop on there, I like to ask people about this, about time management.
Okay.
I keep asking everyone about this because I think it's so important. And you being, in the position where you've got your hands on many different things, how do you sort of balance your, allocation of 10% of my time to this, family, this, that, what,
Yeah, it's basically just firefighting. I mean, you see a fire, you just go and put it out. Whatever is priority, it's just like, oh, okay, because things are popping up and different things have to be done all the time, and it's just more like automatically it goes in your head, okay, which is the most important, and just come to do with that. But lately I've been trying to get more organized. I have a personal secretary now who tries to schedule things, but she's not able, or I'm not able, I don't know how to use one, basically. So most of it is just,
Are you like that, what do they call that? That some people find the calm in the chaos, right?
Yeah, I guess so. It's pretty much like that.
Yeah.
I guess I like things chaotic. it gets boring if there's nothing happening.
Or it's too scheduled. and
Yeah,
like, you
if
know,
it's too scheduled,
Yeah,
it is, and schedules also, I realize that it always extends. It's very hard to keep on time, and yeah, it just no. So far things are going okay, so I'm pretty okay with that. You know, random things like that. But there's never enough time for everything.
100%.
Yeah,
That is
and,
like,
yeah,
you know,
yeah.
there'll never be.
Yeah. And I think I prefer it that way. It's better to be busy than not have anything to do. So I always like to
For sure.
make sure that we're busy.
Okay. So moving on, from being the chairman of Tetso College to the chairman of a government undertaking, which is NIDC. For the people who don't know, why don't you just let us share with us how you got into this position, and also just a brief, first of all, just like a brief overview of what like NIDC is.
Oh, okay, sure. Well, being chairman of the Nagaland Industrial Development Corporation, it came as quite a surprise. Actually, I owe this position, first of all, I guess, thanks to our Honorable MLA Hekani Jakalu.
This episode of the Shoutout Podcast is brought to you by Serenity Women's Paying Guest. For more information about this PG, you can call the number below or check out their Instagram page.
For considering me to be heading one of her corporations under the Industries and Commerce Department,
Right.
with the blessings of our Honorable Chief Minister, Nepiu Rio. This position, I think primarily the main reason I was chosen was actually because I have a financial background.
Right.
And NIDC has been a non-banking financial corporation for a while. They've been extending loans and other things like that. Apart from that, NIDC also, they manage industrial estates.
Right.
They manage special economic zones, and they also are a development corporation for executing projects as well. So in a nutshell, that's basically what NIDC does. Our main focus is about facilitating industrial development in the state of Nagaland.
Yeah, you joined in which year as the chairman? You
Yeah,
took
it's been
charges
roughly about 2 years.
2 years, and it's a term of.
It hasn't been 2 years yet. Yeah, I
Okay.
think about 2
But
years.
the term is for. Is there like a fixed
Yeah, it follows according to
the government's?
Yeah,
Okay. So basically 5 year.
yeah, basically
Okay.
it follows that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, like something new for you, I'm pretty sure. Like when
Oh,
you
yeah.
stepped into this role, and going through, I'm sure you had to like do your research and like what has this been doing for the past years and stuff like that. So, what has your experience been in this 1.5 years or less than 2 years with this, and how are things going basically in just your initial 2 years into it? Yeah.
Okay, so let me tread very carefully over here, since this is related to government.
Yeah.
But I think taking up this responsibility has been about learning.
Okay.
I have always, I've always been from in the outside, and I think taking over this responsibility has revealed so much about how government functions, how things work, and at the same time, how decisions are made. And it's really opened up my network and has really helped me professionally, I guess, in encountering these type of different situations, which I would never have encountered if I was only in the private sector.
Right.
So professionally, huge amount of learning for me. As for the corporation is a very respectable corporation, but at the same time, we have a huge restructuring exercise going on.
Okay. It's currently going on right now?
It's still currently going on, and there is work that needs to be done in order to make the corporation more efficient. There are a lot of corporations within the government of Nagaland, but I think every corporation has its own challenges and at the same time work to do, and that is just part and parcel of government. What has helped is that I'm getting a better understanding of how government is also trying its best in executing certain projects, and sometimes they're successful, sometimes other things happen along the way.
Right. And I think like how you mentioned, like this was your sort of first time into this world, right? Because in the sense the corporate world and the government world are almost on like polar opposite ends, right? You know, the way they function and like.
That's true.
So must have been another culture shock for you also stepping into this. But when when we talk about NIDC, the other day when I met you at your office at NIDC, I was telling you that like this is something that I've known about this corporation for the longest time, but never actually knew what it does and stuff like that. So I just looked it up, and like you mentioned earlier, one of the main things that it does is runs industrial estates, right, and has that special economic zone in Ganesh Nagar, right?
Correct.
That was also like a big sort of a big project kind of undertaking that was done by NIDC, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Can you just share with us a little bit about that, because that seems to be one of the major things under NIDC.
Yeah, well, I think if you're talking about specifically about the special economic zone, it hasn't been functioning right now.
Okay.
We have got proposals from a few companies that want to set up over there, but there is some.
Are these like Nagaland-based companies? Sorry.
No.
Okay, outside.
There are about two. Yeah, I think there's approximately two. They are Nagaland-based companies. Okay. One of them is actually a foreign company.
Okay.
They're all trying to work through some bureaucratic red tape and trying to see what can happen. We have to do a couple of things over there to also make it appealing to investors. And for that, I'm working with the team to try to see what we can do to make it more appealing and more investor friendly. In fact, I'll be attending this Rising Northeast Summit to try to see what can be done to find out what investors actually require, because we want to make Nagaland to be a choice. Friendly. Yeah, investor friendly, and as one of the top choices as an investment destination. I think, I'm just saying, for example, we know there are issues like power, there are infrastructure problems and things like that, where we're trying to see if it's even possible whether 24 hours power can be at least provided to those industrial estates or special economic zones. So the only thing is that it takes time and
the red tape.
The red tape. There's a lot of things that need to happen in order to make things go through. So things don't happen as quickly as we want in government as compared to the corporate world or the private sector. But I think we are working together. I mean, the whole government is working together to try to see what can be done to make it easier. And I'd have to say that based on the interest shown over the couple of years, we are in a much better position now than 10 years ago. As a state, I think there has been a lot more improvements.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Another aspect of NIDC, like again you mentioned, is like loans, right? You facilitate loans for sort of people, for the public sector, right?
Yes, there are. See, NIDC has not been issuing loans for a while.
Okay.
Frankly speaking, but in the past, it has helped a lot of entrepreneurs get off the ground. People who were not getting loans from the bank because of our
the tedious process, and
it's a very tedious process. And on that side, I have to say that one main issue for our people, I think, is in the way we manage our finances. We don't keep our documents properly. We don't file income tax returns. We're not aware of how to keep our own financial records intact properly. And I think that's why we're not able to access loans even from banks and financial institutions. And at the same time, that's probably why NIDC or a corporation like this is needed, because we need an easier way for our people who are not so who are not so financially literate to be able to access loans and to give that guidance.
Yeah, I was just looking at some numbers, and like you said, at the moment, you guys are not NIDC is not giving out loans, and over the past how many years, but like, I mean, a few hundred crores have been um, dispersed through, like, you know, the NIDC and all. Just wanted to know whether, like, recovery of that was like an issue, because Nagas somehow tend to, you know, and is that one of the reasons why NIDC has sort of stopped?
Well,
Giving up.
recovery has been an issue. I think there are multiple factors also. During the, especially say for example, the COVID time, that was when recovery could not be done. And that was a period where, since repayments could not be done, interest rates also rose up, and that was one of the factors. But yes, I think our Naga people's attitude on taking loans is also because of a lack of awareness. Sometimes we take loans with the assumption that we don't have to pay back. Or we think a loan is a grant or something like that. And then that understanding has not always been there at times. And so that results maybe in making Nagaland not such an attractive option sometimes maybe for banks.
I definitely agree with you on this. Like I guess we can both agree that, you know, the tedious process of all these paperwork and like how you said, most people don't file ITR and etc. add to the difficulty of getting loans. But more than that is also, you know, the not so good numbers that, you know, that show our repayment.
Yeah, I mean, actually, I'd have to say that from some of the information that I got, I am part of the state level banking committee, and actually, I'd have to say that I believe that our banks can actually do more. Our NPAs, basically the non-performing assets, is very minimal compared to other states, I think.
Okay.
So I think I would like to actually use this platform right now and encourage banks to give our Nagas who are capable a chance and extend more loans. Private sector banks can do more. There's a lot of business and a lot of potential.
And does there mean business, right? Handing out loans.
Exactly.
I mean,
it's not to just keep the money in
exactly.
savings accounts or anything like that. They need to issue loans. The banks need to step forward.
I think this makes for a perfect segue into what we're going to get into, which is Sapient. Sapient Finserv, or financial services. And earlier we talked, just before we ended the last note, you were talking about how we, to a certain degree, lack, financial literacy is like a little low in Nagaland, and we'll get into that also. But you coming from that background, I want to know your the start of how you decided to join Sapient, and share with us like how like that started, that journey started, because you were back here in Nagaland, college was going on, and backstory of that.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah. So, well, I'd have to say that when I was working in Hyderabad, I was working with Franklin Templeton Investments, which it's an asset management company which deals with mutual funds. So after coming back here in Nagaland, I was just solely looking after the college for about 7 years.
Okay.
Then after that time, through YI, Young Indians network, I bumped into a friend. His name was Pallav Bagaria. He conducted a session on financial awareness and literacy, and then there we connected. They also found out that I had worked previously with an asset management company, and from there we thought that there are very few mutual fund distributors here in Nagaland, and he thought that, okay, why not set up something over here, and if I would be interested. And from there, we managed to set up something along with one of my friends. His name was Vijay Sharma.
Okay.
So Vijay and us, both of us, we took this responsibility, and then somehow it's now already crossed 8 years. So
share with us, I mean, like a little bit about the actual company, and like, because this is like a big company in India. It's not just like, So share with us a little bit about Sapient.
Sure.
As in like, how, not like, the whole history, but like, a little bit about it. And
So Sapient Finserv is a very, one of the largest independent financial advisories in the country. In the Northeast, I would say Sapient Finserv must be the largest.
Okay.
And here in Nagaland, I'm looking after it. So thanks to the fate that my partners had in me, it's now been 8 years looking after this. But Sapient Finserv it's not about selling or anything like that. All over the country they have offices in Pune, whether it's main office, head office is in Guwahati and Pune, and here in multiple states. But then I would say the main emphasis here is about sound, prudent financial advice. It's not about selling mutual funds. It's not about giving an education plan so that, or a home, just let me just take a step back here and just say that I'm not saying that institutions, banks, or agents or things are giving the wrong advice or things like that. But what Sapient Finserv tries to do is just to provide the best possible advice through our products. And our products basically means it's our advice. We may recommend, say, something that is connected to HDFC Bank or IDFC Bank or ICICI, whatever it is. And we would just recommend a mutual fund based on the client's needs.
Okay.
So for those of you who don't know, mutual funds are an instrument in order to generate more wealth where possible, so that you can get better returns. But these are all subject to market risk,
100%.
of course.
Yeah.
So you need to be aware, because there are just so many different types of mutual funds, so many different financial products. So what Sapient Finserv basically does is, we try to provide the right financial instruments to the client based on their needs. So for example, if you want to buy a car in 5 years, then there's certain products which we would say, you put your money here, you'll get that in.
Yeah, and then you can buy your car.
You can buy your car. Yeah.
But subject to market.
Yeah. But we will. That's the goal. Just that if you want to buy something in 1 year, 2 years, then there's a different product for that.
Of course. Yeah.
So we don't want to be blindly recommending, and we don't do that. So it's not like our people have a target and they have to hit that target and they will blindly be selling. No, it's like, okay, fine. They found somebody, they give the right advice and do that. So we have institutions, churches, individuals, HNIs, high net worth people who are all our clients. We already have more than 700 clients here in Nagaland.
Just in Nagaland?
Just in Nagaland. And a significant number of assets under management, for which we're very happy that we've been able to provide, good service, and it keeps on growing every month.
I mean, when I was just working on like the things that we're going to talk about and all, this is something that I felt was very important. And like you said, financial literacy is quite low in Nagaland. And as someone like me also who knows about it but is not too well versed on it, is like, for me, I was like really looking forward to this part of the conversation, more like a learning experience with a front row seat. And so when you talk about, like, you've said in very brief terms that, like, Sapient Finserv provides sound advice or according to the client's needs, right? But can you just explain to the people who are like maybe like in layman's terms or a little more basic terms about like what mutual funds do or like,
Okay.
so that they get a rough idea of.
So roughly, I guess everybody has heard of fixed deposits. You have a certain amount, then the banks promise you'll get 7%, 9% returns if you keep it within a certain time period and things like that. So what a mutual fund does is like it gathers a pool of money from different investors, and then they have somebody who manages the mutual fund. So you have a professional money manager who sort of picks the stocks and decides where to put those investors' money in. So I'm just saying, for example, just hypothetically, the person might decide to invest in Maruti, Tata, just for example, if it's in the auto space, might invest in SBI, ICICI, if it's in the finance space. And so from there, that professional money manager will manage the stocks for you. And if you are not using a mutual fund, then instead you can invest in stocks directly, which means you yourself
become the money.
Do the research, and then you are picking, I will invest in SBI, I will invest in ICICI. For example, you do your own research and you're investing in individual stocks. So a mutual fund may hold up to 30, 60 stocks, for example. But you have a professional money manager who is picking the stocks for you. You don't pick that. So they have mutual funds or some funds which are going to be, say, specific to auto sector. Some mutual funds which are going to be specific to finance. Some infrastructure.
Right.
So it's going to be dependent on that. So because of that, there are so many mutual funds, and that's where Sapient Finserv comes in to say that, okay, based on your needs, based on the current situation in the market right now, you should invest in the, say,
whatever sector.
This sector at this moment, or this according to our research team.
Right.
Basically, we have a research team of chartered accountants and other professionals who recommend different products depending on the client's needs.
Right, right.
And I would say a mutual fund is probably it is a good way to go. It could be as small as 500 rupees. Say per month. Investment may require as little as 500 or up to any amount, you know.
So the range is there. It's not like you don't have enough to invest in it.
Yes.
So question would be usually people say like it's a good way to invest your money, like to grow your money, to grow your wealth, right? But is it something that can generate like real wealth, or is it something that is just more like a savings plan kind of thing?
Oh yeah. See, now the returns from mutual funds are compounded. Compounded, which means it can grow to very large amounts. So, for example, you have different types of mutual funds. If it's a liquid mutual fund, it may give you returns similar to fixed deposits, which could be 7%, 6%, like that. Then you have something called hybrid mutual funds, which can give a bit more, anything between 8 to 10%, let's say. Then you actually have equity mutual funds again, which can give close to even 12, 15, 20, 30, 40. It goes like that. So I'm not recommending any mutual fund saying that there's a guarantee type of thing.
Of course, yeah.
But every mutual fund has a certain time duration when it's a bit more safer to be invested. So for example, if you're going to be investing for 7 years, then there's a particular product which would probably give you the best returns in 7 years. But if you were to invest in, say, a fixed deposit for 7 years, then you know that you're only going to get 7.5 or something like that %, let's say. But an equity mutual fund might be able to give you double, triple that, and because of the time duration, your risk factor reduces, lowers. So, that's how our research team would work, and that's why every individual is different, and that's why we have to give a customized recommendation. And you basically have an app on your phone, so you can control your investment. If you want to purchase, redeem, or anything like that, you can use the app to always track and
track your progress.
Yeah, track your progress and see how it's going. Yeah.
Okay. One thing, because the viewers are very. I like to pride this podcast on my viewers, a very nice demographic, like I was telling you earlier.
Yes.
Very well-read people and all that. So it's not like I'm not telling them, but it's a problem that Nagaland faces, which is, for some reason or the other, we always tend to fall into all these scams and get rich quick, schemes, which obviously always end up on a very bad note.
Yes.
And on the other hand, become a little hesitant to invest in sort of more, like you said, there's nothing is guaranteed. But more sound investment options, like going to advisories like yours, and investing. Why do you think that is? Just your perspective.
Yeah, And it's basically greed. It's just, if the returns seem too good to be true,
Then it's always
it
not.
probably is. If those returns were actually true, then why would that person
be telling you and then not doing it himself, right?
Yeah, that person should have already been that rich, is what I would say, you know. But you have these people coming in promising that you will get this many returns. Why don't you see how their own lifestyle is? Are they already at that level? If they're not, then you know they're making money or somebody or something. And
so I mean, it's very unfortunate because you read these stories or whatever, these articles about, or this news about so-and-so getting scammed, or a group of people falling to a Ponzi scheme or stuff like that, and then you think, how could you, like, it almost seems unbelievable, but like I guess you said, like what you said about greed can be very a big lure, and
I think it's also just as a close-knit society, we tend to just believe gossip, or my friend recommended this, and that's our research basically. We don't really get into the details of it, but go based on one reference after another. So
being 8 years into this, you said 8 years, right? With Sapient Finserv. How has the progress been on two fronts, like personally with the company itself, and also sort of like the interest of the people in terms of like their response and investments with you?
I think people are so much more smarter, knowledgeable now. I mean, when we first started, getting the first 10 clients was so difficult. Then hitting 50 was so difficult. You just cross those milestones. Then after getting 100, became easier. Then it became repeat. Then after 3, 4, 5 years, clients have seen, they've invested, they've made their money, they're coming back. Now they're referring others. Now it's sort of going in autopilot in that sense, because we have a large base of investors who've invested, and so now people are even walking in and
on their own and just
on their own
and
asking and then investing. So because the whole government also has been promoting investments in mutual funds. For example, you get tax benefits by investing in mutual funds. So there are positives to this. I mean, which is the whole reason why you're getting tax benefits on these type of things. So,
and I think that is true for almost any business where, like, when you try to break certain barriers, whether it's with like a podcast, you're trying to break the 1,000 subscriber first, and it's so hard. And then, so I mean, if the product is good, then sooner than later, it's bound to and you continue the grind, and And so,
just one point I wanted to make is just that our people tend to mistake insurance and mutual funds and savings.
Yes.
So just wanted to make it very clear over here that insurance is not about building wealth. Insurance is always about protection. And we always recommend that you keep your wealth building products separate, you keep your protection separate. When you try to combine insurance products with a wealth building product, then you end up with a product that doesn't do either. It does not build wealth enough for you, and it doesn't give you enough protection, I'm saying.
Right.
I'm just saying, like, you keep it separate. Your vehicle insurance, if you wouldn't purchase vehicle insurance with something that's also building wealth along with that, because it gives you half coverage for your vehicle or something like that. So there are a lot of products that are like
definitely.
that.
I'm going to get some free advice now. So just for the benefit of me and all the viewers watching. So you have a certain X amount of money that you're looking to invest. What would be sort of like the division of how you allocate certain funds for mutual funds from, like, the money that you're willing to invest and something into like insurance, and just a rough ratio of like how would you divide money into?
So there is there's a rule of thumb. Basically, like, let's say, for example, you're 100 years old, and your age, it depends on your age. You can take more risk if you're younger, and less risk as you get older. So I'm just saying, for example, not necessarily mutual funds and insurance, but if you are, if you are 30 years old, then what you could do is 30 years old, then that means 70% of your money can go towards more risky assets, and 30% of your money should go to safer investment options. As you grow older, 60, once you reach 60, it goes the other way around. 40% should be risk.
High risk, high
yeah,
reward
yeah,
kind
yeah,
of.
yeah. And 60% should be on safer. So the younger you are, the more risk you can take. The older you are, you have to change it. Basically, so when you're 70 years old, you should be taking less risk. Only 30% should be in risky.
And hopefully by 70 years old, we should be set.
Exactly.
we shouldn't be having
Yeah,
to,
so always try to follow that thumb rule, whether it's mutual funds, whether it's some other instruments or things like that. But, you can't, it's difficult to give financial advice in just one sentence.
Yeah, of course.
And this, because it's
and
a
for that
complex issue. Yeah.
And for that reason, I'd recommend that people, just get in touch with you. Not saying they have to invest with you. I wouldn't put that out there like that, but just to learn. And then if they are convinced that, it's a good thing through, the discussions they have with you and the meetings, then hopefully it can translate into, something good for both parties. Not
Sure,
just
sure.
one or the other,
We
right?
would love to help there.
Yeah. A few things, we're like slowly wrapping up, but like I mentioned in the intro, you are doing so many things. We've touched the college, we've NIDC, your Sapient Finserv. There are a few other things that I was not aware of also until you just sent me your bio and stuff. And let's talk about those ones quickly. One is the Morung Tech. What it is, just tell the people what it is and what you do and how it started.
Yeah, okay, so thanks for bringing up the Morung Tech. Morung Tech Private Services Limited, basically this is a partnership between me and my partners in the US. It is about building an educational software. Now, running Tetso College, we have faced innumerable challenges as we try to go and adopt technology. We've used a lot of different software over here. I mean, we've used open source software, we've used paid software, we've used so many different types. But honestly, none of them have worked. Finally, got so fed up, and it's hampering our growth, basically, and it's hampering our efficiency. I mean, students of Tetso College will attest to the fact that, they are having major issues on tracking their attendance and things like that because our software hasn't been working as it should. So finally, now we've tied up, my friend and I, his name is Sushant, and he's in the US. Yeah, basically, he has a company based out of Hyderabad and the US. So we teamed up and now we're working on making this software, and this is going to be an all India based software for institutions, schools, colleges, which will try to make the process, as easy and seamless as possible for both students, teachers, and institutions. So we are already in the initial stages. We have already started implementing it from this semester itself. Every student, for example, is going to be getting an app. Parents will get an app. Students will be able to see from the app exactly how they're doing, from their timetables to their marks, to their attendance. And from there, we hope to open it up by, say, December or January to other institutions for free. Basically, we're going to be giving a call out so that we can start enrolling a few other institutions. We want to do the initial testing here at Tetso College first, then open it up to whichever institutions are interested, and then do another 6 months of testing before, probably by next year, we would have a full countrywide launch. So initial testing has begun, progress has been good.
So
the team is...
The first phase has started, the slow implementation.
First phase has
so this is
started.
more to do with management and not with the education so much? Or?
Yeah, we would call it a student information system.
Okay.
So it provides, say, administrators, school, college owners, the data that they need, and also fee management, attendance management, and all the other things. Many people I know are making this, but it's just that we frankly just got fed up, and we know what we want, basically, and now we we've got a team that can develop it for us. We're working together, and we hope that, we want something. I've always wanted something coming out from Nagaland to be countrywide. So if we can try to do this, and if we're successful, we'll know next year if we can pick up.
I hope it does well, and then
thank you.
Because like, just quickly touching on this, but the startup culture, it's, in its very nascent stage, still
Correct.
right,
Yeah.
but it's so good to see the few people who are in this space and creating products and softwares and apps, and really good to see them getting the sort of like the limelight, like, because this is something that's been sort of underlooked, and the government has been trying to promote it, but the people need to step up, right? Like whoever the so-called entrepreneurs and the startup.
I think you're
founders are.
doing fantastic.
No, but I'm talking about like. Yeah, that threw me off. But
Sorry.
the few people, I don't have to name them. Almost everyone knows, like the ones who are in this space, and so something like this, like you said, something that we create out of Nagaland, and we cater to not just our people, but like it goes nationwide and hopefully internationally. That's the dream, right?
That is the absolute dream. I mean, one thing I really want to say over here is I'm so tired of our Nagas creating products only for
Just
our
for
state.
exactly.
Because the real market is not in our state. The market is out there. We are, in that way, blessed and fortunate to be in a country that is going to be one of the largest economies in the world. And we've been from our, within this country. If we are not smart enough to take advantage of it, then everybody else is just going to be the ones who are going to be thriving economically, and we're going to be left behind. So I hope, this is another shout out, I guess, to our Naga entrepreneurs. Please focus on mainland India, capture the mainland India market with whatever products that you have, and become, filthy rich.
Yeah, 100%. Because, like, as a entrepreneur, when you have a startup or even a business, one of the main things you're looking at is scalability, right?
Yeah.
And then if it's only just this tiny market, like you said, that most tend to look to, it's unfortunate, but just like 2 million people thing, population is not going to, like,
That's it.
Yeah. That's basically you're keeping your ceiling limit there, and not looking to a much bigger market.
Yeah, I think we have to get out of our comfort zones. We're too comfortable when we're in our state, and we need to have higher ambitions.
Definitely.
I feel that you can take some of the richest people in Nagaland, and you just need to plop them down in Guwahati, and they would be like almost like a normal citizen. The value of
totally,
money
is,
we're insignificant.
Yeah.
Is what
I
we need
think,
to wake up to that.
Really need to stop being comfortable, and like I said earlier also, it's about like trying to leave a legacy behind, in the sense, in whatever that you're doing, in whatever line that you are, whatever profession, whatever business or whatever it is, that leave a lasting impression of like something that meaningful you did. It doesn't have to be like such big achievements or such, but anything that you do, it should be.
Yep.
And also another thing I just want to add is also like to be original, right?
Yeah.
And not too much of imitation, because this is something that happens in Nagaland. I don't know if you notice this, but the trend of just hopping on the bandwagon. When some new thing comes up and is doing well, everyone jumps on that bandwagon.
And I think that's a trend in every developing economy. I heard that in China, you open something, then they replicate it in a week. Everybody, So I think every developing economy goes through that phase, and Nagaland is certainly going through that phase. That's why when somebody does well, it gets replicated across. And I think it's just because of a lack of exposure. We're not getting enough exposure and opening up our minds and being able to think out of the box. And another thing I just want to point out was that I didn't realize, but just that there are majority of the people in our state, I think, have not gone beyond our state.
Yeah.
And that is affecting that exposure, and they're just not getting that entrepreneurial mindset. That is a fact. Yeah.
One small visit to just even Guwahati. Forget about going abroad. Just you see things, and you might subconsciously implement it into your business here, but you were not 100% aware of that. And on the lines of replicating businesses or modules that are working, I mean, it's not a bad thing also, but I think you should be looking at, not like if someone opens up a business here, not to imitate them or replicate them, but replicate bigger businesses that are, you know, big successful ones outside and use that model maybe. Okay, before we wrap up, there's one more thing. You want to tell us about
Okay.
desert?
Yeah, there is, so sorry, I mean, there is one more thing that we're doing. Yeah, we call it Desert Board Nagaland.
Desert Board Nagaland.
Yeah,
yes.
it's supposed to be a sustainable, environmentally friendly product. It's supposed to be a plyboard alternative. And it's supposed to be very environmentally friendly. It's supposed to be termite resistant, fire resistant, and something like that. We've just started it. We're trying to see how the market picks up it. If it goes, then yeah, you can use it for furniture, you can use it for wall partitions, things like that. And we've started using it in a lot of our projects, and we've...
And it's Dimapur based?
It's Dimapur based, and we're actually sending it to Guwahati and to other places in the northeast.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I always let the guests use this platform, however small the numbers may be, but to promote whatever you're doing, and also I guess it's a good thing to look out for.
Thanks for that.
Yeah. We're gonna wrap up with something that I found interesting when you told me that you were into gaming. My shout out was also to that bunch of young guys, Nagaland Esports Society. But what is your take on gaming as like not from like a leisure kind of thing, but like as the potential that you see like globally? It's undebatable. It's a huge industry. Yeah, it's one of the biggest industries also.
Already in the Olympics also, right?
Right. Yeah. And so the potential that you see for a tiny state like ours also.
Oh yeah. See, I think huge potential, and gaming can actually transform our entire state also if we were actually serious about it. I think Vietnam might be a good example. I think there are a lot of gaming companies that just transformed the economy. When you talk about gaming, it's not just about playing games. It's about, you're talking about art, drawing, designing. You're talking about programming. You're talking about actors, voice, everything.
It's an industry in itself,
right?
It's
an industry in itself. It's huge. If we can, I think our state needs to focus on one or two things. You just need to do one thing properly for a population like ours. And if we can click, and it's something that other states cannot do, then it can just pick up, And gaming is one that has potential based on, I think, the interest that we see in our state. We see a lot of people. So, I mean, I love gaming also, but I don't have any time for it anymore.
Yeah, I'm sure. But like, how do you see, like, not like putting you on the spot and to give us like a solution like that will fix, create the path, but what do you see that must be done in order for this to happen in Nagaland? Like, to sort of make this into an industry, or what are some of the things that maybe cross your mind when I just asked you the question?
That's a tough question because I'm not really in the gaming sector. I've been pretty much a casual player and have been interacting, but I have quite a number of friends who have gaming companies and things like that. And right now, the number one challenge I think right now is just that we don't have enough of a population. Say whether it's programmers, people who can program, people who can draw, design, things like that. Because when these gaming companies, they hire in terms of 100, 200, which means if they're hiring in terms of 100, 200 people, they're interviewing 1,000. Because they don't interview 200, 300 and then hire 200. They would probably hire 10, 20% of that. So if we look at our schools, our institutions, not necessarily that you need a STEM background, a science, technology or something like that, okay? But then we're not producing enough people in the science streams, in the computer science, engineering, and we need more of that. If you just look at our, the HSSLC records of the NBSE this year, 10,000 plus was from the art stream, about 2,600, 500 was from science stream, 800 was in commerce. Now this out of this 2,600, some will go for medical, some are going to go for something else, and some engineering. How many are going to be in
Right.
tech, So we're going to need more.
That's not such an
people.
encouraging.
No, the numbers.
The ratios. It's
terrible ratio.
Very, yeah.
We have so I really would like to encourage schools to, focus on science, get more of our people in that. Then we'd have enough people. Then maybe then the gaming industry would slowly pick up. But I think it's a marathon. It's not going to happen overnight.
Yeah,
We're
not a
going to have
sprint,
to do that.
I think, what you said is very true. It's like the numbers is a very important factor, right? But there are few people again, who are in this space that are doing so well. There's this, I don't know if you've heard of Redimension Games.
Oh yeah, I know him.
Right?
Bekru?
Yes, Bekru and all that. I mean,
Fantastic.
what an achievement, right?
Yes.
Getting their games selected. I forgot the game's name. Midnight Sojourn.
What was that? Sojourn Past, I think.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
amazing, seeing the clips and all.
Yes,
They
yes.
really put emphasis into the music, which is a big factor. And then it's getting picked up by what I read. I think all these gaming platforms like PS5, Sony PlayStation, Xbox, and all are interested in having onboarding that onto their platform. So if that happens, or I don't know if it's already happened, I'm not up to date, but that's an amazing thing. And hopefully, I just said this in the past episode also when I was talking with Jonathan, the cricketer.
Okay.
Is that we need role models, right? Or we need sort of heroes
We do.
that sort of give the hope to the next generation.
Yeah.
That he can do it, so can I.
Yeah.
And then unless we have people like that succeeding in that particular field, then it's hard for our youth also to get inspired or even have that self-belief that even I can do it.
Yeah.
And when they have someone just like them, same Nagamanu, and
Yes,
doing it in
yes.
that field, and it makes it easier also.
Absolutely. I think we are all looking for heroes. We're looking for somebody who we can look up to. I look up to my bosses who I worked with, and you want to be as smart as them. And I think, hope that we can see a lot more people coming up. I mean, I guess we're already, not you maybe, but I already feel too old.
No, we're on the same boat. Okay, Kvulo, it's been a very fascinating conversation. I totally enjoyed this. We wrap up with the message. I told you about this, you share a message, or you can give a message to one, which is family, friends, and second is to the Nagas in general. So just give you the time to.
Okay, so I think I forgot about this part.
But yeah, it's an informal thing, just to friends or family, whatever you want to say.
Yeah, no, well, first of all, I'm just too humbled, and I'm just so absolutely surprised that you considered me worthy enough to be on the show. And so my message basically is just that I don't think I'm a role model. I don't think I'm achieved anything much or anything. And I think that there are much more capable people who should be on this show and who you can look up to and follow. I'm in the same boat. I look to learn from people much more accomplished than I. And I think my only message to every single person here, especially in Nagaland, is that I think we should not get too comfortable. We need to see a billionaire. We need to see someone who's actually really successful. And I'm looking forward to seeing that in my lifetime. I want a hero. I want somebody who I can just say that I'm so proud to be Naga, who we can claim as our own, and in whichever field it be, whether it be sports, education, academics, or anywhere. We want heroes, or politics for that matter, or wherever it is. So we need a hero, and looking forward to seeing that hero in our lifetime. Yeah.
That's nice. I think that's something that we need. So before the final wrap up is just where does Kvulo go from here? Because now you are in so many different, you got your hands in so many different areas.
Well, yeah. So I don't know which of those are going to fail. I will, whichever of those fail, I am going to exit those and probably put the rest of my energy on the ones which are succeeding. I'd like to spend, time with my family, friends, loved ones, and then from here, I just like to be happy right now, and then try my best to see and try to create if I can do something positive for the society or in whatever capacity that I'm in, then I'm going to be pretty happy with that. And so grateful to have friends like you, SLA, and thanks for this time.
I mean, thank you. That was such a nice thing that you said. I mean, I think the importance of that and being able to recognize that, it's good to be ambitious also, but there are like so many important things in life.
Yeah.
Like family is one. And I think that's a nice thing that you said. And on that note, we'll wrap up. Thank you so much, Kvulo, once again. Finally got you on. I'm very happy and thank you for your time and hope to see you soon.
Yeah, sure. Thanks. Yeah.